Understanding VBA, your gateway to automation. Visual Basic for Applications, or VBA, might sound intimidating at first, but it's really just a way to make Excel do things automatically. Imagine you have a repetitive task in Excel, like formatting cells or copying data. With VBA, you can write a set of instructions called a macro to perform these actions with a single click. This not only saves you time, but also reduces the risk of errors. Think of VBA as a language you use to communicate with Excel. Just like you use English to talk to a person, you use VBA code to tell Excel what you want it to do. And the best part, you don't need to be a programming whiz to start using VBA. Excel provides a user-friendly interface called the Visual Basic Editor, or VBE, where you can write and test your code. This editor comes equipped with helpful features like syntax highlighting and debugging tools to make your coding experience smoother. In the upcoming sections, we'll delve deeper into the world of VBA, exploring its core concepts and how you can harness its power to streamline your Excel tasks. Why VBA matters for Excel users. Excel is a powerful tool on its own, but VBA takes it to a whole new level. It allows you to automate repetitive tasks, create custom functions, and build interactive forms within your spreadsheets. This can be a game changer for anyone who spends a significant amount of time working with Excel data. Imagine you're a financial analyst who needs to generate monthly reports from a massive data set. Manually, compiling and formatting this information could take hours, if not days. With VBA, you can automate the entire process, reducing it to a single click. This not only frees up your time, but also ensures accuracy and consistency in your reports. VBA is also incredibly useful for data manipulation and analysis. You can write macros to clean and transform data, perform complex calculations, and even create custom charts and graphs. This level of automation can significantly speed up your workflow and allow you to focus on more strategic tasks. Moreover, VBA empowers you to create interactive user forms, adding another layer of functionality to your spreadsheets. These forms can be used to collect data, present choices to users, and even trigger specific actions based on user input. This opens up a world of possibilities, allowing you to build dynamic and engaging spreadsheets that go beyond the limitations of standard Excel features. Demystifying macros, your first step in VBA. Macros are the heart and soul of VBA. They are essentially a series of instructions that Excel can execute on your behalf. Think of them as automated workflows for your spreadsheets. When you record a macro, Excel captures your actions and translates them into VBA code. This code can then be run whenever you need to repeat those actions. Creating a macro is surprisingly simple. Let's say you want to create a macro that applies bold formatting to selected cells. You would start by opening the Developer tab in Excel and clicking on Record Macro. Then you would perform the desired action, in this case, selecting the cells and applying bold formatting. Finally, you would stop the recording. Excel has now generated the VBA code corresponding to your actions. You can access this code by opening the Visual Basic Editor, or VBE. Within the VBE, you'll find your recorded macro, neatly presented as a series of VBA statements. You can examine this code, modify it if needed, and even add more instructions to expand its functionality. Macros provide a gentle introduction to the world of VBA. By recording and examining simple macros, you can start to grasp the basic syntax and structure of VBA code. This hands-on approach allows you to learn by doing, gradually building your understanding of how VBA works. Variables, the building blocks of your code. In the realm of programming, variables act as containers for storing information. Think of them as labeled boxes where you can put data that your VBA code needs to work with. This data can be anything from numbers and text to dates and even entire ranges of cells. Each variable in VBA has a specific data type which determines the kind of information it can hold. For instance, an integer variable can only store whole numbers, while a string variable is designed to hold text. Assigning a value to a variable is done using the equal sign operator. Let's say you want to store the value 100 in a variable. You would first declare the variable using the dim keyword, followed by the variable name and data type. In this case, it would be dim my variable as integer. Then you would assign the value 100 to the variable using my variable equals 100. Variables play a crucial role in making your VBA code dynamic and reusable. Instead of hard coding values directly into your code, you can use variables to represent those values. This makes it easy to modify the behavior of your code by simply changing the value assigned to a variable. Section 5. Functions, pre-built tools for common tasks. Functions are pre-built blocks of code that perform specific tasks in VBA. They are like mini programs within your code that you can call upon whenever you need to perform a common operation. VBA comes with a rich library of built-in functions, and you can even create your own custom functions to extend its capabilities. Each function has a name that describes its purpose, followed by parentheses. Inside the parentheses, you can provide input values, known as arguments, which the function uses to perform its task. The function then processes these arguments and returns a result. For example, the sum function is used to add a range of numbers. To use this function, you would simply pass the range of cells as an argument within the parentheses. So sum, a 1A10, would calculate the sum of values in cells A1 through A10. Functions are essential for simplifying your VBA code and making it more efficient. Instead of writing lengthy code blocks to perform common operations, you can rely on functions to handle those tasks. This not only makes your code more concise, but also improves its readability and maintainability. Section 6. Practical examples putting VBA to work. Let's bring these concepts to life with a few practical examples. Imagine you have a worksheet containing a list of names in column A and their corresponding scores in column B. You want to write a VBA macro that will loop through each student and display a message box indicating whether they passed or failed based on a passing score of 60. VBA sub-check scores. Dim last row as long, dim I as long. Find the last row with data. Last row equals sign, cells, rows dot count, A, enter up row. Loop through each student for I equals sign, 2 to last row. Check if the score is greater than or equal to 60. If cells IB dot value equals sign 60, then mesg box cells IA value and passed, else mesg box cells IA value and failed end if next I ends up. In this example, we first declare two variables, last row to store the last row number and I as a counter for our loop. We then use a loop to iterate through each row in the data. Inside the loop, we use an if statement to check if the score in column B is greater than or equal to 60. Based on the condition, we display a message box indicating whether the student passed or failed. This is a simple illustration of how VBA can automate a task that would be tedious to perform manually. You can adapt this basic structure to create macros for a wide range of scenarios, from formatting cells to manipulating data. Section 7. Tips for beginners. Embracing the VBA journey. Embarking on your VBA journey might seem daunting at first, but with the right approach, it can be an incredibly rewarding experience. Here are some tips to help you get started. Start small. Don't try to learn everything at once. Begin with simple macros and gradually work your way up to more complex projects. Use the macro recorder. The macro recorder is your best friend. Record your actions and then examine the generated code to understand how VBA syntax works. Break down problems, divide your tasks into smaller, manageable steps. This will make the coding process less overwhelming. Debug your code. Errors are inevitable. Learn to use the debugging tools in the VBE to identify and fix errors in your code. Practice regularly. The key to mastering VBA is consistent practice. Set aside dedicated time to work on VBA projects, no matter how small. Section 8. Resources for continued learning. There's a wealth of resources available to help you on your VBA journey. Here are a few recommendations. Microsoft Excel Help. Excel's built-in help system is a great starting point for understanding VBA syntax and functions. Online forums and communities, websites like Stack Overflow and Mr. Excel are excellent resources for finding answers to specific VBA questions and connecting with other VBA enthusiasts. Books and online courses. Numerous books and online courses are dedicated to teaching VBA. Look for resources that align with your learning style and skill level. Section 9. Conclusion. Your VBA adventure awaits. Mastering VBA opens up a world of possibilities in Excel. It empowers you to automate tasks, analyze data more efficiently, and create dynamic and interactive spreadsheets. While the journey may seem challenging at times, remember that every expert was once a beginner. Embrace the learning process, leverage the available resources, and most importantly, enjoy the satisfaction of bringing your Excel skills to the next level.